Meantime, the World Health Organization, of which I have been deeply critical and remain deeply critical, is often used by people as the ultimate body to justify some of the worst lockdowns and behaviours of this whole thing. Well, I want to introduce you to a person from the World Health Organization who says, guess what? Lockdowns are a bad idea. This is a reversal of the position of the World Health Organization, which, of course, followed their reversal on masks, their reversal on how deadly this thing was going to be, their endless reversals. But here it is, you can see it for yourself, a representative of the World Health Organization talking about Melbourne-style lockdowns and how no longer should they be how we deal with this.
I want to say it again, we in the World Health Organization do not advocate lockdowns as a primary means of control of this virus. The only time we believe a lockdown is justified is to buy you time to reorganise, regroup, rebalance your resources, protect your health workers who are exhausted. But by and large, we'd rather not do it.
He continues about why and what the consequences are, because it's fine for the upper middle class people who go, what will we watch in the cinema room tonight? And the poorest amongst us, who are the ones who are smashed by the lockdowns, including poor kids who can't go to school.
Look what's happening to poverty levels. It seems that we may well have a doubling of world poverty by next year. We may well have at least a doubling of child malnutrition because children are not getting meals at school and their parents in poor families are not able to afford it. This is a terrible, ghastly global catastrophe, actually. And so we really do appeal to all world leaders. Stop using lockdown as your primary control method. Develop better systems for doing it.
But what did the fawning members of the press, who of course have let him get away with the ducking, the weaving, the bullshitting for weeks and weeks and weeks, months and months and months, well, what did they celebrate? Of course, the major milestone of 100 press conferences in a row. Like, that is an achievement. Thankfully, on Friday, he met his match. Peter Credlin, the star at Sky News, the lady who, of course, many of you would love to see running the country, and I'd definitely love to see her doing exactly the same thing when it comes to Victoria. I'd love this lady to be the Premier of Victoria. Good on her for fronting what Stephen Conroy told you on this show a couple of weeks ago was the missing 6 minutes, the 6 minutes where the decision was actually made about hotel quarantine. The Health Minister, the former Health Minister, Makakos, she says, don't believe what he told hotel quarantine. The bloke who was the head of emergency services, he changed his mind about whether he did or didn't tell the police minister. This, of course, was an inquiry that was set up to hopefully distract. But the longer the lockdowns go on, remember this thing was extended for another 6 months, and now there are calls for it to reopen because it has failed to do its job. As Peter has shown you so well on her program, and she will again tomorrow, 6 o'clock Australian Eastern Daylight Time, must-see viewing as always, in chapter and verse, that the inquiry never asked for a key piece of information that would have been able to prove who knew what and when. The phone records of the Premier. Only after being confronted face-to-face by Peter Credlin on Friday, and she's promised to do it again until we get to the bottom of this, this is what happened.
If you were to provide your outgoing calls, the clarification in relation to then the incoming calls to Mr Ashton's phone would be very clear.
So again, if a request were made, then of course, on our form, and I'll confirm for you right now, of course we would provide and be cooperative in any way we possibly could. In any way we possibly could.
For all the parties who haven't provided them to date?
If requests were made.
Well, 100 press conferences, 99 of which people have tried but have never delivered the direct blow that Peter was able to do in just one appearance on Friday. Daniel Andrews is now going to hand over the records. Of course, not asked. He just ends up doing it. But only after somebody had the balls to walk in there, look him in the eye and make it damn clear. Well done, Peter. The obfuscation of this bloke is endless. In a second, I'll tell you about the disgraceful stuff as well, about the Chief Health Officer, old Bambi Eyes, yet again moving the goalposts, while people, including much of our panel tonight, half of our panel, are still locked inside. Ridiculous.